Let's dive into Elix's training so we can stay consistent at home. We're going to use these training tools on a consistent basis. That way we can have a clear line of communication with Elix on our expectations at home and set firm boundaries for him. That way he understands what we expect from him in the home. We're also going to reward the behaviors that he does that we want to continue to see, but again, follow through with the training equipment to discourage unwanted behaviors from Elix. So let's dive into the remote collar. I know you already know a little bit about the prong, but we'll kind of touch base on that again. But how to turn this on. So you'll see that Elix is going to wear this part, and you'll see a little red dot. And on the remote that you're going to use is a matching red dot. We're going to touch these two together, and you're going to see a green light flash letting you know the collar's on and charged, ready to go. I'll show you the other features of this remote collar at the end of the video. Now, how to turn the remote on, the part that you're going to use, the on-off button in the back here, we're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. Now, you're going to be able to see level 20 on the screen. That is what works for Elix to get his attention when we need to tell him, hey, that's not quite what we're asking from him. Before we dive into that, the prong collar, pretty easy. I know you've used it in the past, so to put it on and take it off, we just undo the links, squeeze together to put it on. Now with this, we don't use constant pressure. We use a little pop and release to give him those reminders while he's on the leash. For example, heel. Heel means walk next to us on a nice loose leash. If he starts to pull forward, we're going to say no, tug and release, and then give him the heel command again. So it's no, pop, heel, no, heel. That way he understands that, hey, pulling forward or walking ahead is not appropriate. I need to walk next to my owner and listen to their commands. Now, how and when to use the remote collar. We are going to focus on this black S button right here. This is the main button that we're going to use to communicate with Elix. Again, the other features of the remote collar I'm going to go over at the end of the video. So I'm going to show you when to use it. So I have my thumb resting on the black S button here. Let's talk about heel again real quick. Let's say we're walking, he's doing great, but he sees something on the ground that he really wants to get, and he starts to make his way for it. We're going to tell him no, push the black S button, and then repeat the command heel. No, heel. So we're letting him know, hey, going towards that object, let's say it's a piece of pizza or something. Going towards that pizza is not appropriate. I'm going to tell you no, give you a little reminder, and then I'm going to tell you to heel. If you walk next to me in the heel position, you will get rewarded with praise, petting, and treats. That's how we're going to balance it out. So every time he does what we're asking, praise, petting, treats, good boy, good heel, maybe a treat. Anytime he doesn't do what we're asking and it warrants a remote collar, which it will 99% of the time, we follow through with the remote collar. No, heel. This sets a firm boundary in understanding what our expectations are with Elix. When I say heel, I expect this. When I say sit, I expect this. These are the expectations, and that way we can build our relationship on a level ground where not Elix isn't up here and we're down here. The roles are reversed. All right, so that's how we're going to follow through with all of our commands. So sit, of course, self-explanatory. We have, for example, door manners. If he gets up before we give the release term, no, follow through, sit. It's important that these little things we don't let slide, because if we let the little things slide, that's what torpedoes it into the big issues or the big blow up behaviors that we're seeing from him. So if we're consistent and we follow through with the little behaviors, that's going to help deter and kind of get rid of the big behaviors as long as we stay consistent. So for example, sit at the door. We have him sit, he should stay until we say free. Once we say free, that means he can get up from that stay. But if he gets up before we say that, no, sit. We follow through with our commands. Then we have down. Down means lay down and stay until he's told free. Again, I know we've been over these commands a lot. If he gets up before you give him that release term free, it's important to have him go back into the down position. And of course, when he does the commands that we're asking, we're going to reward that behavior because we want to encourage him to follow our direction. And we're going to do that through encouragement with praise, treats, pets. Of course, we're going to follow through though as well. That's the important part. So we have down. Now with down in place, we don't free from a distance, and we'll talk about place here in a second when guests come over. So we always go back to him in the down, good down, and then tell him free. Same thing with place. We don't release from a distance, so we don't put him on place, walk 10 feet away, then call him to us. We're not going to practice that. Instead, if he's on place and it's time for him to get off the bed, we're going to go to him, put a treat on his bed, good place, and then we can tell him free that he can get off of the place bed. It's important to do that because it creates a really nice, strong stay boundary with the command. We're letting him know we're never going to call you off the bed. We're always going to come back to you. So it creates a stronger stay, because if he's ever rewarded for getting off the bed, like to come to you, it's going to weaken that stay for him. So we always go back, good place, and then tell him free when we're done with that command. So when are you going to use place? When guests come over. That way he has a spot to be. He is going to wear his equipment even in the house. And the first couple times we have friends come over, I highly recommend having the leash and the prong collar on as well. That way you can guide him back to the bed, because it's going to be exciting when people come over. He's excited. He loves people. No, you're not allowed to get off the bed when someone knocks at the door. Place. And then of course when he stays, we reward. So it's important to have this training equipment on every day. So first thing in the morning, this remote collar goes on. When you need to use the leash, the prong collar goes on. Last thing at night, this thing comes off. Anytime you're not with him, the prong collar needs to come off as well. So let's move on to the next command. We have come. So come means come to me. So for example, we have him free on a light leash or a long leash, letting him explore, sniff. When we say Elix come, it means stop what you're doing and come to me. We're going to have him sit, and then we reward this behavior. So Elix come, good boy, sit, reward, and then free again. Or you can put him on the leash and give him a different command. Whatever is warranted. If he doesn't listen to the command, no, black S button, repeat the command again. No, come, just like that. If he doesn't follow the command, there is a pattern, and it's always no, follow through, give the command again. Then we have leave it / drop it. So this is like when we're playing with a toy with Elix. So he does really well with playing, but I don't want him to have just free reign of toys. So no more toy box for him to just go dig when he wants to. He plays with us, and he has to have a leash and the training equipment on when we're playing, because it's, again, building the relationship back up. So we play with him, we let him get the toy, and then we tell him leave it. When we say leave it, if he doesn't immediately drop the toy and walk away, we're going to follow through with the remote collar, with the prong collar, leave it, nope, pop, pop, pull him away from the toy, reward, good boy, because again, we're not taking the toy away from him. That's what causes resource guarding. Instead, we're having him leave the toy, we'll reward him, have him sit, we'll get the toy, and then we play again. So that's how we're going to use leave it. That is with anything of value to him. That's the game we're going to play. So anything of value, he needs to be wearing this training equipment. So if we need to get it for whatever reason, we have the ability to say leave it. If he doesn't, no, leave it, pop the leash, walk away from the toy with the leash in your hand, so you're guiding him away from it, have him sit, reward, because you're rewarding the new behavior, sit, and then we go get the toy. So that would be an example of how to play with him. We get the toy, we start playing again, and then we continue from there. So that's how you're going to do leave it, and so on. So those are his commands. We have heel, sit, down, place when guests come over, leave it, come when called, and then the release word free, and then of course praise, yes, no, all that fun stuff. So it's really important to have this training equipment on consistently. You want to have fun with Elix, but you also want to set those clear boundaries. Reward what we want to continue to see. Use this training equipment to decrease what we don't want to continue to see, for example, not listening to behaviors. So have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you his commands in action. Down. Good boy. Down. Good down. Good down. Down. Good boy. Good down. Free. Good boy. Okay, ready. Place. Good boy. Place. Good place. Good place. Good boy. Let's go over the other features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn the remote collar on and the remote on. Let's talk about how to turn it off. So the two red dots, we're going to touch them together. So red means the collar's off. Green means on. The on-off button in the back. Push and hold it until the screen is blank. Perfect. And then push and hold it until it's back on. All right, so we talked about the black S button. That's going to be the main button that we're going to use to follow through with Elix. Let's talk about the red S button. The red S button is for emergencies only. We have not needed this for Elix, but you never know if you might need to boost the level a little bit. So for example, let's say he gets off the leash for whatever reason and he's running towards the road at something. We are panicking. We need to get him back. He's chasing something really exciting. And we're like, Elix, come, and we push this, and it's not enough to get his attention. What the red button does is it adds 20 to whatever level's on the screen to snap him back from the adrenaline rush that he's in chasing a rabbit, for example. We have not needed this, but you have it just in case you need it. So that would be what the red S button is for emergencies only. The T button over here, it's going to vibrate. Now, I don't want you using this in the first 6 months with Elix because this can be a useful tool to get our dog's attention. However, it can also tell our dog like, oh, the rules are flexible at home versus at the training center. So we don't want that. Instead, what I want you to do is before you put this collar on Elix in the morning, push the vibrate button to make sure you've turned it on because this magnet is really sensitive. You could accidentally touch it and now the collar's not on. So before you put this on Elix, vibrate. Okay, this is on. And we put it on first thing in the morning. It goes on. That way, no matter what, we can communicate with him what our boundaries are throughout the day. All right, let's go over the on-off button again. So if we just tap it, instead of pushing and holding it to turn the remote on and off, it activates a flashlight feature. Kind of cool because Elix is mostly a black dog, so seeing him at night is going to be a little bit easier. Tap, tap, tap to turn it off again. Now this little M/C button right here, don't worry about it. It changes the mode from momentary to continuous. We don't need to change that right now. In the very beginning, we used continuous and paired it with treats. That way he had a positive association with this collar, but we don't need to do that at this point, at this level. Speaking of levels, this could change. His level might change as he gets older, more advanced in training, understands the boundaries. It might need to go up or down depending on the situation. Basically, level 20 works to get his attention and tell him, hey, focus on what you need to be doing. If we're having to push this a lot, it's time to bump the level up. If he's having a more dramatic reaction, like kind of going, oh, what was that? Then we need to turn it down a little bit. How to do that is the dial. So right now it's locked, so you can't turn it up or down. What we do is we push down and hold it. Now, once we see that 1D at the top flashing and the numbers changed, we can turn it down or up, depending on what level we need it on. So if 20 doesn't seem to be enough, try 25 or 30. If 20 seems to be a little too much, try 15. Set it at the level you want. Push down and hold for a few seconds. Should be locked into place. The reason we lock it is because if we're wearing it around our neck with the lanyard, we don't want to accidentally turn it up or down, and then we're like, oh my gosh, why did he, have such a dramatic reaction? Well, it was turned up to 35, and that's going to be too much for him. This is rechargeable. Charging port here's on the back. It is waterproof, so make sure that is closed after you're done charging. That way dirt, debris doesn't get in there and mess with the electronics. Same thing with the collar here underneath. It should last about 2 days on a charge if he's wearing it all day and you're turning it off at night. Perfect. So in the box here, we have the charging port that charges both the remote and the collar at the same time. So again, every other day should be fine as long as you're turning it off at night. And again, he should wear it most of the day. First thing in the morning it goes on, the last thing at night it comes off. He doesn't have long hair, so we don't need to worry about changing the prongs or anything. This is the instruction manual in case you have any questions. And this does have a 2-year full warranty. So if something's not working quite right, we can replace, or this company, if you contact them, can replace it as long as it's within that 2-year warranty. All right, it's waterproof, reaches up to a half mile, safe to use every day. I encourage you to put it on Elix every day to start off with a, clear we have boundaries. We're going to follow through with our boundaries. He can't just get away with little things, because the more he gets away with the little things, the more we're going to see the bigger events that we want to try to avoid. So have fun, stay consistent, and let us know if you have any questions.